Hi there, Dr. Ferg here at Thinking Well, and today I'm out here talking about Parmenides. Alright, I'm going to go take a hike up there and give you a little bit of some details on my friend Parmenides, one of the pre-Socratics, lived before Socrates, and I'll talk about his arche, that is his singular principle that he understood tied all things together. See you there. Parmenides was a pre-Socratic philosopher, and he is famous for having written a poem. And the poem was composed of three parts. It had a proem, which was kind of introductory illustration, and then a part on the way of truth and the way of opinion. To the short part of it is the proem. And in the proem, it's this beautiful journey from the world down here up into the heavens, being carried by these strong horses, these mares that are carrying him up basically a stairway to heaven. Once he reaches heaven, he right and justice open up the gates to him. He goes in and he is greeted by the goddess. By her right hand, sits at her right side and is greeted, and all things are true and just and right. And so he's taken out of our ordinary world, and this is the world of seeming. This is the world of change. If you look at these clouds, they come and go all day long. They change more than I change my clothes. Every day they're new, always shifting. This is the world of seeming and change. All right, so Parmenides goes up into heaven. He's greeted by the goddess, and she tells him, I'm going to show you the two ways that are, and the only two ways that things can be. And in a very perplexing sense, the goddess says, there is the one way that is and must be, and the other way is not and cannot be. So the way of truth is what is. The truth is that there is what is, and what is not, it cannot be, and in no way can it come into being. What this means is that there is being, there is what is, and nothing at all can come into being. Nothing can become. Because for anything to become, it must go from what it is and change into what it is not. But what is not is in no way being. It doesn't exist. So if my hand is here, you might say my hand moves from here to here, back and forth. My hand is here, my hand is not here, and my hand goes from being here to no longer being here. And this is a complete illusion. It is the world of seeming. The world of change is an illusion. Becoming, change, movement, physics. Physics is an illusion because there is only and always what is. And it's like a huge round ball, infinite in all directions. And everything that is. And there is only that which is. And that which is not cannot be spoken of. If I talk about something that isn't, what am I talking about? Nothing. Nothing at all. So here in the world of human opinion, it seems that I'm walking down the trail. It seems that I am changing my location. It seems as if I can move. It seems as if physics must then therefore be possible. I am changing my location, am I not? Is the background and my relationship to things changing? Seemingly. But the truth is, at every moment, there is only and always what is. But to me, it seems that there is what is. Now there's something new and new and new and new. It seems that I live in a world that's constantly always changing. But this is an illusion. And Parmenides lays out a logical argument that defies the senses. It defies human experience. It is what the Greeks called a paradox. Para, like a parachute, is against. A parachute is against the fall. A parasol is against the sun. Dox is related to our word doctrine. So a paradox is an argument that goes against doctrine. Another word for doctrine, opinion. And in my earthly human opinion, change is real. But according to Parmenides' argument, this change around me, this is an illusion. And that's the paradoxical argument that Parmenides puts forth to us. And it is up to us not to simply say, oh no, look, change is real. No, 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 no. What is wrong with the logic? That is the challenge Parmenides puts forth to us. Where's the logical problem? Because there is what is, but what isn't. Because it isn't. In any way, is it? So I can't talk about it. Right. So Parmenides is the father of metaphysics. And metaphysics is the study of being and what is. And his argument is that there is only what is, and that any language, any utterance of what is not, to say this is here and it is moving to where it is not, is nonsensical language. Because there is only what there is, and what is not simply is not, and we simply can't even talk about what isn't, because there's nothing to talk about. This logical challenge stood for generations against the Greeks. It led into all kinds of intellectual crises for the Greeks. There's an elegant solution that eventually comes along, which I'm going to hold from you today, because I want you to be puzzled by it, to think the argument through, to be challenged by the paradox that change and motion doesn't exist. This change, these clouds moving, is an illusion. And to ask yourself, if there is only what is, why do we speak of things that are not when they aren't? I can speak of yesterday and tomorrow, but tomorrow is not here yet, and yesterday is gone. It's no longer here. So what am I actually speaking of? I'm speaking of a world of seeming and a world of mere human opinion, not a world of truth. And that's what the goddess shows to Parmenides when he's up in heaven. This logical challenge is faced by us today in areas such as quantum physics, where we have mathematical models, we have theoretical physics that flies in the face of our intuition. And you cannot simply sit there and say, well, that doesn't make sense to my five senses, therefore I reject the argument. No, as a philosopher, you have to face the arguments, try to reconstruct, and this is a very important part of philosophy, is to, and any honest intellectual endeavor, is to try to honestly reconstruct the argument that somebody has presented, and on the merits of that argument, try to figure out what is wrong with it. And oftentimes what is wrong with an argument is a missing element that no one has yet thought of or named. And that is one of the ultimate challenges of all intellectual activity, is to learn how to see what no one has seen before. Parmenides sees a very clear world. There is only what there is. And what is never changes, because it is always, at every moment, purely what it is, and can never go from being what it is to becoming what it is not. And so physics, deemed impossible by the Greeks, it was an intellectual crisis of the first order and the death of science for a little while. Until next time, this is Dr. Ferg at Thinking Well. I'll see you then. And just take some time to think about this argument. Stretch your mind out. What's wrong with his argument? Leave a comment below if you've figured out what is wrong with his argument. See you next time.